Hey you, come on, sit down. You're sitting at the grown-ups table. I'm your host, Jesse Pimpinella, and as always, my partner in crime,
John Jacobs.
and my bride of Pimpy,
Hey.
Sarah.
Hey, we didn't get
Hey.
the intro, Sarah, but welcome. It's been a minute, Sarah.
Yes.
It's been a while.
So today we're going to be talking about a movie that we all seen, M3gan.
That most of us hated,
That-
justifiably.
Well, before we get into that, let's just talk about it. So today we're going to talk about M3gan. We're going to talk about the reviews. We're going to talk about what built its success. What are some of the things that people detract from it, and we're going to talk about what pretty much it's been a phenomenon. This film. I mean, whether you hate it or not, like I said, I don't like Avatar, but it did great waves.
We now have to have an episode solely about that, sir.
And Avatar 2, I will go on record saying Avatar 2 was great, okay? I wasn't happy about it, but it was great, okay? Let's not even get into it right now, okay?
Can I propose a Scream 6 episode?
Yes, we could do that.
Yeah, we're going to do that, especially because I heard a lot of people like 6 better than 4 and 5, but
Nope.
still don't think it's better than 1 or 2. So I'm intrigued, even though I think it's stupid. I think it's just a ripoff of Jason Takes Manhattan. But we'll see.
Which, ironically, they used that movie as inspiration, which is
Don't they show a clip of it?
They show a clip of it. They straight up tell you that we're using this. But anyways, let's stay on track with M3gan. Hey, Tom, what's up? How you doing, man? It's good to see you. All right. So anyways, we're going to be talking about M3gan. So real quick, I need you to do me a favor, everybody. Like and subscribe if you're watching this right now. And make sure all episodes, are going to be different. Like I said, all episodes usually go on YouTube on the Thursday, but now they're going to be going live right here. We're going to be soon moving over to YouTube 100%, and we'll still put clips on Facebook, but man, YouTube is where the place to be right now. So this is our first time going live on YouTube. I'm really excited. Also want to give a shout out to Pete from the Funny Stop. What up, man? I'll see you the 12th and the 13th. That's where I'm going to be. So thank you so much. But anyways, let's talk about this movie. So M3gan was when this came out, I have to say one thing really helped this movie blow up, and I'm going to skip ahead to talk about this before we review the movie, is that dance. That dance, I felt, launched that movie. It was probably one of the greatest marketing tactics for a horror movie since Smile, when they were photobombing the cameras at MLB games.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my talking points as to why the film got so hyped. So I'm actually, I'll hold my judgment until we get to that particular part of the conversation.
Well, we're actually we're jumping right into it. We're going to talk about what made this movie a success before we talk about it, because I think this is one of those movies where a certain amount of hype was created for this movie, and everybody was anticipating the movie, and I think this sensational dance helped also get its PG-13 rating, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But right now, let's talk about this dance. Where was the first time you guys saw it, and what did you think about it?
I think I saw it on TikTok.
TikTok, that's where I saw it. John, where'd you see it?
Okay, so remember, I'm 42. So is this dance a viral dance that then the doll did, or was this just something they did in the movie because they thought the doll should dance?
So
it was the trailer.
I'm asking.
When the trailer came out, they showed the dance in the trailer.
They did.
And TikTok latched onto that 2 seconds where they showed the dance. And it was just cycling through for a good month to a month and a half.
My question is, though, is that dance a real dance? So, for example...
Oh, no, they made it up.
Yeah.
They made it up.
The floss, right? Is it a real dance, or
no,
did they just make it up for the movie?
They made it up for the movie. Okay. What happened was because they had to kind of work with choreography on how they move, because they went from marionettes to robots to real people playing M3gan. They wanted to give it a robotic feeling. And for funsies, they decided to choreograph a dance, and that choreographed dance made it into the trailer. And then when that trailer went viral, that dance is what got everybody talking about Megan and wanting to see that movie. Everybody was doing the dance. Everybody was dressing up like Megan. People were showing up to work as Megan and starting to do the dance in front of their bosses and all that stuff. And I find it very interesting. Like, this really kind of propelled the movie's marketing, which is very fascinating because we come from a time where a lot of movies marketing ploys, especially with horror movies, they've always been gimmicky. And I don't mean to be gimmicky as in like to say it's a bad thing. I mean, like I said, Smile was photo bombing all the cameras with the people going like that and creeping everybody out.
My issue is now marketing for horror movies, it's so gimmicky and the movies just never follow through.
Well, that's what we're going to get into right now. So
I'm going to say this now. Megan was a fucking disappointment. Smile was a fucking disappointment. Fuck that movie.
Only the ending of Smile bothered me. I liked the full movie.
The ending bothered me too.
The ending I thought ruined the movie because it was unnecessary. They didn't need to do that.
The whole movie was just boring.
I don't know. Like, so here's the thing that's weird, though. This is our off track for this.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's okay. I hated It Follows. Like, I fucking hate that movie. My wife loves it. Everybody I know loves it. I fucking hated that movie, right?
I annoyed Sarah so badly because I was like, all right, if you get double penetrated, does the curse go equally to each of them? Right. So then do they each have to die at the same time for the curse? So then what if they stay separated forever? You know, like when they fly the president and the vice president on different airplanes, like fly them on different airplanes, the monster can't be in one place at the same time. Therefore, curse nullified.
Well, now that you've completely jumped the shark on my topic, let me reel it back in. So the point I was making is that because again, Quentin Tarantino, you can always find one thing in a film. There's always one thing, right?
Okay.
Even if you fucking hate the movie, there's gotta be at least one thing, no matter how big or small it is, that you could say, you know what, I did like that, right? So in It Follows, I did like how the demon pursued the people.
Yeah.
And I do feel as if Smile replicated that. And because I liked that about It Follows, but hated the rest of the movie, for some reason in my brain, it allowed me to really like Smile. But then the ending just jumped the shark for me. I'm like, what in the fuck is happening here? And it wasn't like out of left field like in Mirrors, because it made sense in Mirrors. In this movie, I'm just like, why is there this like 10-foot like behemoth like demon coming out of nowhere? But then it didn't happen, but then it did happen, but then it didn't happen, then it did. I'm just like, what? You lost me. You build up to this whole thing, and then you totally lost me at the end. But overall, not counting the ending, I liked the film. I just hated the ending. And I agree with the gimmicks. Everything has a gimmick now, and unfortunately, that's the world that we're in. There's always been gimmicks, right? But there's a larger discussion to be had here, and that is how horror specifically. Now, there's other genres of filmmaking that are evolving too, but horror is the one that I think there's two groups of people. There's people who see horror evolving, and there's people who do not see horror evolving. I'm one of the people that see it evolving, and I don't like it. I'm not saying I don't like it because I don't like change. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, and again, I can only speak for myself because I don't want to speak for other people, but I feel like going all the way back to when I was 5 years old and I watched The Exorcist for the first time and it scared the shit out of me and I fell in love with horror movies. That meme is totally real for me, by the way. 100% my story. I feel like horror is evolving to where it's all becoming elevated horror, and that's really chapping my ass. Because I think there's room in the market for elevated horror, but all horror should not be evolving to this. And I feel like maybe all is too much of an assertion, but I feel like a very large portion of horror seems to be migrating this way. And it's really bothering me. It really, truly is.
And I think that's because of we have like two major horror studios. We have A24, which is all elevated horror, and then you have Blumhouse, and Blumhouse is fucking trash.
Blumhouse,
they have hit and misses.
Well, the problem with Blumhouse is is they put so much out, and then they're like, all right, we just need 2 hits. We just need 2 hits. Like every year, I mean, what we were talking about, we were like, okay, what was their winners? Okay, they put out shit. Okay, in one year they had what? The Halloween 2018, and then what was the other movie? They had another good movie, and those were the only 2 that were there.
Yeah, but in the past year they have not put out anything good.
But I think there's going to be a switch up because of that, because James Wan and Atomic Monsters have partnered with Blumhouse. I'm wondering if Blumhouse is seeing that they're messing up and that bringing in James Wan. But this would be the first movie under that whole agreement,
and it still wasn't that good.
Now, here's my question. Now we'll get into it. We'll talk about the movie, but one of the things. Let me ask you this: you were talking about elevated horror, John. Elevated horror. Now, obviously, it seems like this went in a different way, being a bit more campier. Obviously,
I kind of disagree with that too.
I don't think.
Expand on that.
Okay.
Expand on that.
So, and now, look, my wife and I didn't see M3gan in the theater. I tried to. Our good friend and well-known comedian Wonder Doug likes to create groups to go see new releases in the theater, and I really wanted to go to this, but it just didn't end up working out. So my wife and I waited until it was streaming somewhere. Thankfully, Peacock picked it up. Great. Didn't have to pay money for it. It was awesome. We watched it, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And I didn't so I was like, well, I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it either. I'm not saying it's terrible, but I'm not saying it's that good either. I was just very indifferent. And I'm glad that
give me some finer points. Like, what were some moments? Sorry.
I'm getting there. So I just watched it before we started the show. I got off work. I was like, okay, hour and 40-minute runtime. I got 2 hours. We're going to watch it again so it's more fresh and I can see it a second time and determine if how I felt the first time was valid. Maybe those were just first time reactions. Maybe I found something different. Newsflash, pretty much felt the same. So I don't think it was campy at all. I think that they were really trying to make an elevated story, and here's why. And this is a trope that I want to see get away from many horror films. Again, I will not make assertions. That was a mistake. But I feel like many horror films often run on the gimmick from the very beginning. It has to be a troubled family, a troubled child, a broken home. The parents got killed like in the fucking Ewoks Battle for Endor. There's no reason to do that. There was no reason to kill this girl's family. I feel like there always has to be some like insanely traumatic event or uneasy lifestyle or just something. I don't understand why we can't have horror films that just actually have normal families that experience this. There always has to be the parents are arguing. One of the families has ghosts in their lineage. I mean, one's a pet.
Now,
something it can't
expand real quickly. What are some movies that you've seen that in recently, just to create a timeline for the audience? Where have we seen that recently?
You're asking me on the spot, and I can't.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
And now you've completely derailed me.
Are you talking about examples of movies with normal families?
No, with the broken family at the beginning.
So for example, in M3gan, in the second to opening scene, we have to kill her family in a car accident.
Got murdered.
In order to get her to her aunt. I don't understand why it can't be a normal family that the aunt comes to visit and say, hey, I brought Katie a gift. It's a new project I'm working for. We'll get back to the aunt's career and how unrealistic that is when we talk about characters. But I just, I don't understand why we have to, make this child at the, and I get the whole vulnerability and M3gan being able to connect, but M3gan could easily connect to a child that's leading a perfectly normal life as well. It doesn't have to be the tragedy, and I feel like we use that too often.
I think they needed. Here's where it kind of comes down to lazy writing. I think they needed a psychological stressor for M3gan to latch onto. I really don't think James Wan spent as much time on M3gan as he did with the very first Conjuring.
I definitely agree 100%.
Yeah, because if you look at it from a writing standpoint,
Oh, it's night and day.
it is. The characters are 1,000 times better.
Yep.
It's well written and it
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Oh yeah.
M3gan, I think it's just it got the Blumhouse treatment
Mm.
where they just wanted to make the concept and they didn't put any thought behind it.
And this kind of goes. I always call this like characterization shorthand. A lot of times it's like, instead of, like you said, building that family,
Yeah.
we need something quick, something fast, so the audience can get right inside this kid's head. All right, so let's kill the parents in the first couple minutes. Let's show the kids fucked up,
Ewoks
go into an
Battle for
ant.
Endor.
What?
I was just saying Ewoks Battle for Endor.
Yeah. Show that the aunt is not really a suitable parent. This kid's alone. He needs to latch on to something. It's a shorthand technique. Like,
Yeah.
look at it like with Indiana Jones with the villains in the first movie. You don't have to flesh that out. You know, they are the most evilest people in the world. There's no characterization needed to convince me they're evil. You know what I mean?
Right,
So it's
right.
kind of one of those things. Not to shit on Indiana Jones. That's not to shit on, but I'm just saying you could have those tropes because when you have a lot going on in a movie, those tropes help shortcut certain things that you don't have built time for. But when the crux of your movie is about trauma and not
There you go. Not the horror.
and being separated in horror,
Yeah.
you're shortcutting it. You're shortcutting it.
Yes.
And that's I think that's where the disconnect is with that.
So I'm glad that you. Go ahead, Sarah. I want to piggyback off what Jesse said though, but go ahead.
I think 2018 really reinforced it because that's when I started noticing like the subsequent horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
There was always something in the family that was just like off, trauma or whatever.
Yep.
And 2018 did it relatively well, but the rest of the movies did not. I mean, the most prominent example is the fucking Chainsaw sequel that came out in 2022.
Oh, they mishandled it.
It was so bad.
So one of the things I thought was brilliant about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, or the requel, whatever we want to call it.
Requel, I think is
requel. What was so brilliant,
sequel, but they retconned a little bit. So yeah, requel.
Yeah. What was so brilliant was they had this girl who survived a school shooting, and there was, I think, so much they could. No, they dropped the ball,
yeah,
John. They dropped the ball.
That opportunity.
So bad.
But what I'm saying is, what a great setup! What a great premise! What a great way to put these two horrific things and parallel them a little bit.
Sure.
And they did nothing with it. They did nothing at all. They just used it as a shortcut for this girl.
Yeah.
And then when she has that triumphant moment where she's brave, we didn't explore the thing that made her scared in the first place. So how can we be happy for her triumph if we never explored the first thing?
Right, exactly. And that's a lot of like what I was thinking about M3gan, and piggybacking off of what you were saying, why I don't think it was campy at all. And I think it was deliberately elevated. And I really noticed this the second time watching it. It doesn't even feel like a horror film. It should be a sci-fi film. It should be a sci-fi film, but it's not. So I'm not trying to compare the two films, but look at AI and when that was marketed. I know you guys were probably younger when that came out. Hopefully you saw it in the theater. But maybe you'll remember that it was kind of like marketed and advertised as one thing, and then everybody went to see it, and it was like this slow burn drama, sci-fi, like emotion, and everyone's like, okay, I thought this was going to be an action movie about robots by Steven Spielberg.
It's kind of like what they did with Fight Club when they were promoting it during WWE matches.
Dude, Fight Club blew everybody away. If you hadn't read the book, when you saw that movie the first time, you were like, holy fuck. Like,
but the studio messed up. They were like, it's a fight movie. Put it on during the WWE matches. They'll get it. And it's like, nope, you guys didn't obviously read the book.
When I was watching M3gan, I really felt like I was watching a drama. I didn't even feel like I was watching sci-fi. I felt like I was supposed to be watching a sci-fi because they go out of their way at times to explain some of the technology of M3gan, making it
Yeah.
sci-fi versus fantasy. But then other times they go fantasy with the technology. And it's like, well, wait a minute, what? So it's like you couldn't even make up your mind on what genre you wanted to fit it in. It ended up being a drama with like 10 minutes of horror elements in it. So I feel like the film itself was completely missold. But then again, perhaps it wasn't, because I feel like this is where we're trending for elevated horror. And that's what's pissing me off. I have no problem with genres changing, subgenres breaking out, that type of thing. But don't push an entire genre to a change. You can just add another link to the evolutionary tree. You don't need to change what's already there. And I feel like M3gan is a representation of that, because there is nothing new in M3gan. Not one thing in M3gan.
No,
is
no,
new.
it borrows.
No.
It
Brings
borrows
anything new
heavily.
to the table. So
It was
in
just-
that regard, it should have been, as our title says, a campy horror film. That's what it should have been. But because they got a hair up their ass about making it elevated, this is what we got instead, which was a mess that didn't even know what it wanted to be.
Well, I think I should have prompted this topic a lot better, and that's my fault. Because the only reason why was because the reason why I said this is more towards camp is because I've always used Hereditary and Midsommar as a needle point,
Yeah.
a North Star, so to speak. I think for me, I felt this was a campy movie. This is a very goofy, campy movie. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's a robot. It's taking Terminator logic, taking Chucky logic.
Yeah,
And
but it wasn't goofy.
I love the
wasn't,
one
it
scene.
wasn't.
What was the one with the mother where you're like, oh, that's my son Declan. Fuck you, Suzanne.
Well, I mean, that's just slapstick comedy.
I know.
writing
Yeah.
to try to make it funny.
But then the doll doing the friggin' dance.
Well, right,
like,
but that's my point, and I think
And
that's
like
the
the-
point Sarah was trying to make too. Is that dance was the gimmick they used to pull people in to say, "Hey, this is a horror film, but check this out. We're appealing to the 20-year-olds, right? The 15-year-olds."
oh, and
Then
we're
you
gonna
watch
get.
the movie, and you're just like, "That was really kind of dumb."
I also
Oh, you
think
cued me for the next topic, but yes, Sarah, go on.
no, the death of this movie was the PG-13 rating.
Agreed.
Okay, that's it. We're going
Agreed.
into it. You both
Agreed.
you both cued me for this
You
next
could
topic.
tell they were holding back so much.
Oh, they
because of
so
that
were.
rating.
And
Like every scene, I'm just like, please just do it. Stop holding back. Like, what are you doing?
so let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Since you two literally are
Yeah.
forcing my hand right now to talk about this.
Yeah.
PG-13. So in there has been, now real quick before we get into this, there has been a history of PG-13 horror movies
Mhm.
that have been successful.
Mhm.
You know
What?
what?
What
Okay.
PG-13 horror?
Okay, scary movies to tell in the dark. Stories to tell in the dark. Sorry, stories to tell
No,
in the
that's
dark.
literally marketed.
But wait. Let me get my
You've got
explanation.
Insidious, you've got Split, you've got Mama. I'll defend What Lies Beneath. The Visit,
No.
I could defend Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia?
The
Split
Sixth
was not
Sense.
PG-13. That was
Uh,
R.
No.
Skeleton Key, 1408, the original Ring, Little Shop of Horrors, that's a different genre, but still The Village, I'll defend that. Darkness Falls wasn't bad. I mean, it can keep going. There's a huge list
But-
over the course
so
of
this
25 years.
So this is my point. To my point. This is something we like to call as gateway horror. It's gateway horror where it's showing Now it's a two-pronged thing I'm going to say. It's movies where teenagers can go see it. They can watch it. They are not restricted by the rated R thing. Going back to the viral sensation. Who's on TikTok?
Oh,
Teens and
12-year-olds.
tweens
Yeah.
and
my
all that
daughter
stuff.
is going to be 12 this year, and she's all over it. You know?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. That's that viral dance forced their hand to do a PG-13 movie because you see the
Okay.
big vibe and everybody's doing. They're like, look at the numbers on TikTok. Look at all the people that are talking about M3gan. This is now our fan base. We have to acknowledge our fan base. So I mean, because the movie
I can
had
go
that. Yeah, it has that viral sensation. But go.
Sucked.
Well, here's the thing. Not all PG-13. Now, this is not to say PG-13 movies suck. I mean, usually PG-13 horror movies are a great gateway horror, which we've done shows about that. I mean, Don't Look Under the Bed is a PG movie that was on Disney. Scared the shit out of me. The plot twist is if you stop believing in your imaginary friend, he turns into a boogeyman who wants to kill you. Try watching that when you're fucking 7 years old. That messes you up. So I started getting Stockholm syndrome to an imaginary friend after a while. I'm like, hey, I still know you're here. Like, I just kept saying that every once in a while just so I didn't get killed.
That makes me glad I was sheltered as a child.
Maybe, yeah. But
I do feel bad for you, Sarah.
and 1408 was the bomb.
Yeah, see, there you go, Tom.
That is the bomb. But so, anyways, that being said, now that I've said that there are successful PG-13 movies that are horror movies, let's open the floor for Megan. Did the PG-13 help this movie?
Oh, it
or
hurt it.
did it hurt it?
It hurts.
It.
Like, what is
Expand.
what is the last PG-13 movie James Wan has done?
Ooh.
This man should not do PG-13 horror. I'm sorry. Here, we're going with... we're talking about a director who has had some of his horror movies rated R just for scare. Like, nothing else. Conjuring was R because of fear content.
Isn't that weird? That certain movies, just because of how well the actors act in fear, like Hostel, the one scene where the girl gets her neck cut open, was rated because the blood was getting dripped out. And Eli Roth asked the MPAA, like, hey, like, you're giving me an unrated because of how agonizing this scene is with the girl. Yes. So if she was a bad actor, you give me an R. And they said yes. So sometimes acting is so damn good, it can elevate the performance, therefore elevating the rating. Now,
his last PG-13 would have been Insidious, which is also straight trash.
No. I just don't like astral projection.
The first one,
I just don't like astral projection. I'm biased.
But I thought the film was great. I don't. You guys already know I don't do any of that spirit realm crap. The astral projection. I don't believe in any of that. But I love the film.
Yeah.
My thing is, rated R horror is where James Wan shines.
Yes.
I don't know how much freedom he has with Blumhouse that he had with Warner Brothers.
Good point.
Ooh,
really good.
Expand on that.
Really
okay, we have his last movie before this was *Malignant*.
Okay.
I didn't see that. I didn't watch that.
It's good.
It's a Giallo film. If you're not familiar with Giallo films, they're a little bit cheesy. They're Italian horror. It's great if you understand it.
If you like Italian horror, you'll like *Malignant*, and it was just balls to the walls. The writing was good. The gore was off the charts.
It's cheesy and it's campy. It's perfect.
It was so well written. He was using actors that he used before. And Megan, if you showed me Megan and took off James Wan's name, I would not have guessed that James Wan made that movie.
I honestly may not have seen it.
I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it would have got the hype then because the name carries a lot of clout as well.
It does.
If this was, hey, this is Megan by so-and-so studio by so-and-so director, everyone would be like, yeah, okay.
And just so you know, like, and I tell everybody, here's how great James Wan is as a director, just to throw us out. Paul Walker died during Fast and the Furious 7, and he still made that the best Fast and the Furious of all time. Number one. Number two, 20 years ago, if you told me that Aquaman was going to be the highest grossing DC movie of all time, I'd tell you to blow me. Like, yeah,
That's
right.
Gonna change. I guarantee you, even though Ezra Miller is fucking crazy, The Flash is going to beat that. You watch. That movie's going to make
I'm just talking about right now at this time. Well, because you have Keaton. That's a different animal. Let's not even talk about that.
Movie to make money.
Back on track. You're telling me that a man who can literally virtually do any project he wants.
Pretty much, yes.
Did a very specific subgenre of horror like a year and a half ago, made this movie that was just watered down, poorly written, and no gore at all. Because let's face it, James Wan, gore is his thing now. He loves
gore. He created Jigsaw.
Yeah. So you're telling me he had the same free reign that he did at Warner Brothers with this? Because this did not feel like a James Wan movie.
I feel like the marketing. This movie was made by social media.
But just when you're looking at the quality of the film, even the cinematography, it's not there.
I agree.
Blumhouse has always packed movies cheap. That's how they stay in business. So even when they have a shitty movie at $2 million, it makes $10 million. It's a hit.
But James Wan would be worth shelling out the money.
Right.
Yeah, but
they shelled it out for Halloween.
Right.
Well,
Why would you not sell it out?
Well, you gotta shell it out for Halloween because the guy who owns the character Michael Myers, that guy gatekeeps that character.
But also, you have one of the most popular horror directors, consistent horror directors that does well, created a horror universe for
No
Warner
disagreement.
Brothers.
No disagreement.
That would be worth shelling out the money.
I agree.
Because he didn't even use the same cinematographer that he's used for the past 5 years.
But this is Blumhouse.
I know it's Blumhouse. That's why it's straight trash.
They are Blumhouse they make cheap films. That's what they do.
And you're right, because I did look it up. The budget was only $12 million for this film.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's made 15 times that. That's why everybody keeps saying it's so successul. They did it on a shoestring budget, and it's made several $100 million. So it's a huge success in that regard.
I would go further. Of the $12 million, how much of that was marketing? I would put
marketing is usually I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but marketing somewhere in the halvesies range.
In the halvesies, exactly.
Less, but somewhere in the halvesies.
So realistically, this is a 6. Realistically, and again, I know we're probably wrong mathematically. Sorry, honey. Sorry. We're talking about $6 million
on camera.
What?
Did you just pet her hair on camera?
Yep.
A little bit. I actually did this to her, and I felt bad.
All right,
because I'm not used to having somebody right next to me. I'm not used to it. Anyways, I'm used to looking into the camera when I have somebody. Okay, so this movie is $6 million realistically. You know what I mean? So that's why it's going to be a huge success. I mean,
no. When they announce budgets, sometimes that budget includes marketing, but often marketing is on top of the announced budget. So you can't say $6 million of the $12 million was marketing, because there's probably a lot of that marketing that's not even visible. I'll bet most of that $12 million went to the production in some regard.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, needed to, but I mean, this movie was. But let me just say this: this movie was very hype based,
and it sucked.
It was very hype based, and because like I said, you saw when I how obsessed I was with that dance.
Yeah, and I told you it was still going to be fucking stupid.
All night. I remember every night until the premiere, I tried to learn that dance. I pulled a few muscles, but I tried. I was like, damn, I want to learn it. But
I think bottom line, TikTok is detrimental for the horror genre.
I agree with that.
Because we had the M3gan hype.
Mm-hmm.
We had the fucking Skinamarink hype, which everybody was like, oh, it's the scariest horror movie of all time. No.
The what?
Skinamarink.
I didn't watch that either. That's
God.
Let me give you a synopsis. I
like how Sarah knows me. She's like, you'd hate it.
No. When Sarah and I watch movies, we hear you go,
Yeah.
We look around like, where the fuck is he?
I want to let you know, every time we walk out of a movie theater, most of the time, my first thing is, I really liked it. John's gonna fucking hate it.
I love it. It. Awesome.
You have become our rating system for movies, which is hysterical. We both initially, every time we walk out of a movie theater, we're like, oh, John fucking hate that. But real quick, okay, here's what Skinamarink is. And
then let's get back, because
it's a found footage film, but here's how they filmed it.
It's not found footage.
It's not even found footage. Imagine if I grab my phone right now, I threw it in the air, and wherever the fuck it lands, nobody move. We sit right here, we just do a whole entire scene. And then you'll cut. And then I throw the fucking phone in the air again. Wherever it lands, we do scene 2.
And then you have a whisper of dialogue.
So sometimes this is all you could see. Sometimes that's all you could see, the whole movie.
It's on Shudder. You'll hate it. Honestly, I think it would be a good episode.
Oof, I don't know. I think I'm getting ready to get Shudder, because we're going to ditch cable. And so with all the money we save, we're going to pick up a couple of those final streamings we don't have, and Shudder's one of them. So yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, Shudder.
So I want to go back to what Sarah was talking about in terms of presentation of the film, cinematography, that type of stuff. So another thing that really bothered me about this film is that it seemed very disjointed. It was almost distracting to watch, because I'm just like, my God, why is it cutting here? Why is it cutting here? Why did it cut here and
Do you-
then pick up here? Like all this shit is missing now. Like it was so distracting to just follow how the film was pieced together. It really
Do you have an example of a scene? Because I agree with you. I'm just trying to think of one right now.
so like
Even when they would do the jump cuts to be funny, it didn't
Right.
come off funny.
Yeah.
So I don't like okay, so we'll have to create another category for this to come back to because I'm going to bring up a talking point, Jesse.
Okay.
But just to be quick to answer your question, there were two subplots in this film that they started and did nothing with. Number one was the espionage guy. Did nothing with that. Let's
Wait,
just
the
film
espionage
it.
guy? Whoa.
There's an
The guy
espionage
who was
guy?
stealing
Oh!
shit, the assistant dude.
He's stealing shit.
Oh.
Yeah, did nothing with that, and then just killed him in the end because he was in the wrong place, the wrong time. He literally did nothing wrong to Megan. He did nothing wrong to Katie. He was always nice to Gemma, but yet Megan still killed him because he was just there. Okay, that makes no sense.
And framed him on top of that.
Yeah.
And framed him for his boss's death.
He did nothing wrong. So, according to the rules of the film, which is another insanely idiotic, like, I can't wait to rant about how dumb her programming is, or how she can somehow wirelessly connect to anything that requires a physical connection. Again, but the second piece was how she somehow infected the Alexa off camera, and they did that at the end. I'm like, huh? Like,
yeah, everybody got pissed at that.
No, they have some room for a sequel.
They gotta get that sequel, John.
No, do not fucking make another movie.
Michael hit him.
Well.
Michael hit him. Oh, they have a sequel. They confirmed it before it premiered.
No,
Megan 2.0, baby.
Oh my god!
But
And
it's
then
fine. James Wan rarely does his own sequel, so he won't direct it.
And then they did that whole what was that movie with Hugh Jackman and the fighting robots? Real Steel.
Chappie.
Yeah.
Oh no. Sorry, not Chappie. Sorry, not Chappie.
Real Steel.
Real Steel. Sorry about that.
They did that whole ending. I'm like, come on, like, ugh. But to build up to those, like the aunt would be in her garage working on something, and then it would cut over to the kid's bedroom. We'd start going deep into something, and then would cut back over to her, and she would be doing something completely different. And I'm just like, what happened to what you were working on? What happened to this? What's going on in the bedroom? Is Megan awake or asleep? Because you showed me two scenes where she was both. Which one is it?
That's annoying.
Is she asleep? Like, it's... And I understand what they were trying to do, but I just felt like, again, to our point, it just felt like, it just felt like they just rushed to get it out. And you look, $12 million budget, fine, I understand that, but you can still put something better together.
Yeah.
So there's two other topics that I really want to get into. Number one are the rules / construction of Megan, which makes no fucking sense when you watch the whole movie as they explain it versus what happens. And this gets into my gripe about it. Should have been a sci-fi movie, but they didn't explain enough to make it a sci-fi movie. And as a result, they didn't even follow their own rules because their own rules didn't even make sense. And the second part was how every character was forgettable and I didn't care about any of them. Mm-hmm. And they also weren't very real seeming. Like, I don't know whomever they got to play the aunt. Like, I'm like, okay, so you want me to believe that this person is a master mechanical engineer on top of a robotics expert, on top of an AI programmer expert? I'm like, no. That some 25-year-old living in a 1,000-square-foot house is not this person. Or how she just has like millions of dollars of robotics just laying around her house. Like, who owns those? Does her company own them? Who's doing inventory? She certainly didn't buy all those pieces. Like, it's just
yeah,
I think
so far out of the movie.
Trying to bank on Allison Williams' popularity with Get Out.
Yeah.
Even though that was a while ago, she got very popular from that one.
Yeah, I love Get Out, man. It's a phenomenal film.
I love that movie.
Which was one of Blumhouse's big ones.
It was?
That's a Blumhouse.
Really?
I swear to God. I'll check that real quick. But anyways, I want to jump to the comment section before we get into those finer points. Because I'm loving the comments, everybody. These are great. This one made me laugh really hard. Megan is just an Ultron teenage girl.
Yeah. You're not wrong, man.
That's
not
very
wrong
accurate.
Dude, that's
away from a Thanos snap. Like, I mean, you're not wrong, man.
That's like disgustingly. Yep. Get Out. By the way, just to jump back in, Get Out was Blumhouse. So that's one of the 2 movies that's amazing, and then everything else is go fuck yourself.
Honestly, Blumhouse needs to shut down. I'm so sick of that shit.
They're going to be making games. So give them a chance. Let's see what indie games
He's a gamer. Of course you would say.
No,
all right.
But aren't they doing the Exorcist remake?
Yes, they are.
Don't even watch it. You don't even have to watch it. You don't even have to acknowledge it.
John, we're gonna watch it, John.
No,
stop it.
Dude, John is not watching The Exorcist.
John,
it's not going to happen.
They're gonna
John,
fuck it up.
It's your old friend.
I know, but there's no reason for this. Look, okay,
John, it's your old friend Bennett.
Look,
we're watching it.
Welcome back, John. Anyways, because he's like rubbing the knife that he said he was going to
welcome back, John.
Milano's like throat with. Here's the explosions. He's just like, welcome back, John.
It's from the movie Commando. Anytime we just kept saying John, and all I kept hearing was Bennett's voice.
No,
I don't need the gun, John. I don't need the gun. I can beat John.
I'm willing to bet my entire paycheck that the week after the Exorcist remake comes out, there's going to be an episode of it, and I'm going to be on it, and we're both going to be bitching about it, John, which means you're going to have to fucking watch it too.
I will. I've explained the story of The Exorcist 1,000 times. It was my first horror movie. My birth father forced me to watch it when I was 5 years old, just like the meme says. Yes, it caused me to fall in love with horror, but it fucking traumatized 5-year-old John. And look, I've watched the movie with everybody I need to watch it with, and there's no reason for me to watch it again. I'm good. Okay, so I don't really need to watch the reboot. But if
you're going to watch it.
If we insist on doing an episode, yes, I will watch it because I'm better than that. So there you go, Sarah. I'll do it just for you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and also don't forget, we'll have to also do a 2.0.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Mikey, you're right. We will.
Production. But let's go into the rules because I like this rule talk. You know me, I like my rules in horror movies. I like my tropes. That's why I like Scream. Scream has all the rules.
Yeah.
So talk to me about rules here, John.
So let me rant a little bit.
Rant away.
This is the problem, is that we have a person who is apparently a master mechanical engineer, a master at robotics,
I believe
a master at AI programming, something that this percentage of the world is good at one, but this person is a master at all 3. Okay.
Hey, the future is female, man.
Come on, John, get on it.
It could have been a dude, and I would have felt the same way. So what I'm not understanding is how we get from Megan is designed to adapt when she, imprints on the person, and she be more relatable, more conversational. And her primary goal is to protect. However, there is absolutely no explanation whatsoever as to how that logic got twisted to where her AI, binary code calculation brain decided to say, you know what? Making sure she's safe means I should start murdering people and talking shit to people who make her mad. No fucking sense at all, because they don't do anything to develop that. They just go from Megan's super nice. Oh, that was creepy. Oh, look, she killed this kid. Oh, look, she killed this neighbor. Okay.
He tripped in front of the car.
It was just shitty writing.
Okay. Do you guys think it could be the robot laws? Like, they just didn't explain it. Like, that's what I was trying to do to make sense of the 3 robot laws. Can't hurt a human, must obey a human. You can't obey a human's command if it affects rule number 3.
They were just lazy in writing it, and so it came out shit instead of polished. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I think.
And then hold on, Sarah. I'm sorry. Just one more, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
So it also doesn't make sense on how she would not only flip to murdering people, but then develop this sadistic, sarcastic, evil persona. You know what this shit reminds me of? You know where they fucking ripped this off of? They ripped it off from fucking Tron Legacy. Because this is exactly what happened when Flynn created Clue, and then Clue flipped on Flynn because Flynn programmed him to create the perfect system. And then so somehow in Clue's like digital brain, he said, gee, the only way to create a perfect system is to wipe out all users. So then he did that. And it's like, wait a minute, what? And then when Flynn is explaining it to him at the end, he's like, it's my fault. I was young when I programmed you. I was careless. I programmed you to create the perfect system, but I didn't understand human emotions. I didn't understand that perfection doesn't exist. I didn't understand flaws, things of that nature. So they tried to explain why Clue went bad. They do none of this in M3gan. They just, woo.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay.
I think
Sarah, go ahead.
the movie operated under the assumption that the audience knew the robot rules.
Yes,
It was
it
not.
did.
It was not.
It did.
It was not explained
It
or
did.
fleshed out. I personally hate robot movies. The only movie I've seen is Ex Machina, and that fucked me up, and I've stayed away from AI because of it.
And why
Yeah.
did that movie fuck you up, Sarah?
Because she was fucking scary.
Because it was too real. That's
It
why it
was.
fucked you up. Because you were like, holy shit, this is it right here. That's why that movie fucked you up. M3gan, not so much.
No, they were just operating under the assumption that you knew the
You're right.
robot rules.
You're absolutely right.
And that M3gan's sudden jump made sense, even though it didn't. It was just lazy writing.
Yep.
I could not agree more.
I don't think James Wan wrote this. Did he write this?
Good.
No, he didn't.
Okay,
I don't
that
think he
makes
did
a lot
either.
of sense.
Well, real quickly, in the writer for M3gan's defense, I guess.
What's her name? Aklia Cooper. I always fuck up her first name.
Well, here's the thing: she's written some good stuff in the past. It's
She
just
has.
yeah.
I think there's just a curse with Blumhouse. It's just automatically going to be trash.
Well, here's the thing: Ultron did decide to destroy humanity immediately after touching the internet once.
I mean, sure, but so okay. So actually, I'm glad Nigel said that because this leads into the whole other thing. So no rules whatsoever created on how M3gan jacks into everything. Okay, how the fuck is she wirelessly connecting to items? Now at the lab, I can understand how she got in their computer system because she was wired to it. But then they unhooked the wires. How is she wirelessly connected? Also, when she walked up to the sports car and just unlocked it, started driving, like you have no pairing with this. How did you pair with this?
My dumbass was literally what made sense in my what? I can't read it.
This is why 5G is evil,
right,
John.
Right, Nigel's totally right. I love it. Great comment, Nigel. You're
John,
absolutely correct.
Nigel, good one.
No,
Yeah,
I was
perfect.
literally about to say that the way it made sense to me was just Bluetooth. She had Bluetooth. The things had Bluetooth.
But how is she connecting an interface? How did she corrupt the Alexa and download herself into that wirelessly? It makes no sense. She doesn't have a NIC card in her. How is she connecting?
She transcends it.
That's what I'm talking about. The sci-fi element for a movie that was clearly supposed to be a sci-fi movie is just totally absent, and they just did whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
Because it's Blumhouse. They don't care. They make money.
Yeah.
It's literally, oh my god. There's a South Park reference I want to make, but I can't remember it.
Nigel called me a nerd. I guess being intelligent is called being able to connect dots is considered a nerd now. Cool, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
nobody knows what a MIC card is.
Yeah.
I think plenty of people in the world know what a NIC card is.
Okay,
I don't.
as a person with a master's degree, I have no fucking clue.
It's just a networking card.
Yeah, I have no clue. But anyways, so I mean, yeah. But so that was one of the rules. So the technology didn't have a set of rules, and it kind of just operated on either trope assumptions. I mean, basically, it copied the third Terminator movie, where pretty much. And then because she like controlled all the cars and shit like that.
Yeah, but at least at the very
least, it's
I'm
different.
not defending T3.
I understand.
Touched it. She fucking had. There was tactile feedback there, so there was something. Megan
walks
by shit and it works, and I'm like, huh?
But this is going back into what she's saying about the whole idea of they just assumed the audience knew the robot rules, and like those little gaps, we would just do the jump for it. We would do the writing in our head and make sense of that. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I made sense of the Alexa thing at the end, but hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh wow, okay, yeah.
Because they hint at it. There's one time where the aunt Gemma, sorry, I'll call Gemma. I remember her name. Nobody else. Well, the David, I think, was the CEO, the unrealistic CEO, but kind of realistic, but not really. But she's like in her office working, and then her Alexa, who's not named Alexa, says like an offhand comment, and she's like, "Oh, I've never heard you talk that way." I'm like, "Oh, here we go." Like we're already I'm like, some Megan did something to it, and then at the end it shows a little flash, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah,
stop.
Oh, now I remember the reference.
What's the reference?
In South Park with the Washington Redskins, go fuck yourself. That's what Blue House is.
Blue House is becoming the Washington Redskins. Go fuck yourself.
No, not that they are becoming. They are this. They release a movie and it's like presented by Blumhouse. Go fuck yourself.
You're gonna watch it. Go fuck yourself.
Look, just give their indie games a chance. They're gonna make indie horror games, and I'm gonna give them a chance because they have the potential to be really good. They're gonna be quick hit indie games, $10-15 max, and they might deliver.
Or it'll be straight trash.
Well, it could be, and then we'll trash their games on a show. But let's
there you go.
Give that a chance.
ABC, always be creating content.
I'm so sick of Blumhouse.
Always wouldn't that be ABCC, always creating content? 4 words. As I hold up 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it's okay. He's illiterate.
I am. I'm very much illiterate.
We're going to need to do that in 8 days. Like, that's reminded me of.
Dude, I get triggered when I watch Charlie Day write in in Philadelphia. Like I'm like, I get what he's trying to say. I get what he's writing. But anyways.
Going back to the rules, so I think that was the cop-out of the writing, Sarah, was that, okay, because we were so loosey-goosey with the rules and the sci-fi element, explaining, not spoon-feeding. There's a difference between explaining and spoon-feeding. I don't need to be spoon-fed shit, but I need some shit explained to me, okay? So I think that was their answer to that, was just, okay, well, we didn't really touch on this, so we can just kind of do this if we want, and then they did it, and just like when she was chasing the CEO guy down and she walked by some random panel on the wall like it was the Starship Enterprise, and the panel just fucking lit up and started working. I'm like, huh? How does this working? It makes no sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it. Like I said, it was working off of tropes without explaining the tropes.
I agree. Totally agree.
It was classic Blumhouse.
Yeah.
It was just classic straight trash.
Yeah. And the thing is, we used to be ride or die for Blumhouse. We used to be. We used to be like,
that was the before time. That was the before time.
That was before times. That was before the Dark Age.
It was before
that's literally the last time I can remember not complaining about Blumhouse was like 2018. 2018, 2019.
2019 for me. And after that, they installed the new rule of, all right, we're going to do 2 hit movies that everybody's going to love, and then we're going to release 10 movies. Everybody's going to go, why the hell did we buy a ticket?
But I mean, as long as they're making money, they're going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
They're making their profits off of the big films, and they're making just enough off the small films to finance the big films to make the profit off.
Exactly.
I'm not mad at them for their business strategy. I just want them to put a little more thought in shit. Just close the gaps. That's all I'm asking.
Because what's going to happen? Because here's the problem: Blumhouse has put out some of the most iconic horror movies in the last 10 years. Get Out, a lot of those movies. And what's going to happen is that when we start seeing the Blumhouse emblem, we're just going to think straight trash, and it's going to create a negative connotation.
I think
Yep.
they should have thought more about their actions before they released Halloween Ends. Because,
Are we going
after
back
that,
there?
and I'm not trying to stir shit up about this movie. We all hate it.
We all hate it, yes.
It's well documented. We fucking hate this fucking
I love it. It's
movie.
well documented.
It's well
We did,
documented.
like, 5 shows
We have
about it.
episodes of shows.
Right.
Tell-
Multiple shows about one movie, yes.
Anyways, this production company or distribution, they were like, yeah, people are gonna still see our movies. It's like, no, you're responsible for ruining one of the best horror franchises. Nobody's gonna take you seriously. Like, the association with straight trash happened because of Halloween Ends.
Jesse, Sarah, what you just said totally popped something in my mind. I have a solution for this. Here's the solution. All right. Ari Aster takes M3gan and he makes it even more elevated ×3 to release his next plagiarized film that for some reason people give him tons of credit for when there's no originality whatsoever. M3gan is the perfect slate for his next film. Ari, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you're not, but if you are, you should totally do M3gan. You should totally do that. We're
He's
ready
trying
for
to.
that.
He's
Please.
trying to figure out how to elevate our podcast at the moment.
Wait, John, can you watch the trailer for Beau is Afraid? That's Ari Aster's next movie. It's bad.
Oh yeah, I will. But you said Beau the Afraid?
Beau is very afraid. It's something like that.
I will watch it after this show because, dude, I'm always intrigued with this guy.
Tell me what movie he's ripping off.
Okay, all right. Now look, I might not be able to tell from the trailer. I might actually have to watch the movie to figure it out. But I'll let you know my thoughts either way.
I love how much you hate him. Like, it inspires me to just hate something as much as you do.
Here's the thing. I'm all about the value of time. And look, I understand people love Hereditary. And if you love the movie, I'm very happy for you. Because at the end of the day, I love Superman 3. But the difference is I can recognize my movie's a bad movie, but all the other Hereditary people can't seem to recognize theirs is a bad movie. Anyways.
Oh my God.
It's just that it bothers me when something is so blatantly not original, but because it's been elevated, it gets all this praisal when there are tons of medium to low rate movies out there that are far better across the board that get absolutely no recognition whatsoever. So don't waste 2.5 hours of my time remaking Paranormal Activity 3 and telling me it's the Cadillac of horror films. It's not. Did you have some cool shots? Yeah. Did you have some good acting? Yeah. Was the movie terrible? Yeah, it was. So, I mean, it's just like, just stop. So M3gan would be perfect for him to remake into one of his elevated ×3. Oh, here we go. Elevated cubed. That's
oh
what
my
Ari
God.
Aster
Elevated cubed.
He makes elevated cube films. So M3gan would be perfect for him to make elevated cube. I'm ready. I'm here for it.
For a second, I thought you meant like he's going to elevate the movie Cube.
Oh, I hate that movie.
You be quiet about Cube. That is a Canadian treasure.
Oh my God.
And part 2 has one of my favorite Canadian actors, Garrett Wayne Davies, in it. And don't be talking trash about that man. He was in Airwolf and he did a great job. All right?
Just,
look,
John, that is like a textbook movie that you would hate.
No. I loved even the stupid third movie. I loved all of the Cube movies because I found the premise fascinating. So
you make no sense.
I forgave all the shit because I loved the premise so much that I said, you know what? I give all this shit a pass because I love what this is about.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So before we wrap up here, what are our final thoughts we want to give about this movie?
Blumhouse needs to shut down.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, please. I'll wait. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Blumhouse needs to fucking shut down. I'm mad about M3gan. I was swindled. And I'm fucking mad about the Exorcist remake. I will be mentioning this every single time I am on a podcast. Be warned.
Yes. I'm excited to watch it now. Just so you know what, the three of us are going to watch it together because it's going to
Okay.
be a special moment. All
There we
right,
go.
it's going to be special.
I want people need to watch you guys watching it so that we can see you go and then her going.
Yeah.
Like she was doing that during Halloween. She was like
So anytime you see Sarah go, "What the fuck?" just think in your head because I'm probably doing the same thing.
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
totally.
Oh no, I just hear it now. I hear it. I always hear it.
I love that. It's great.
Yeah. But anyways,
Okay.
all
Anyways,
right.
final thoughts on M3gan. I'll go last. You guys go first.
Well, she already gave her thoughts. So I guess
Fucking trash.
look. This movie was specifically designed to appease the people that did the TikTok trend, the M3gan dance, and it succeeded in that because those people went to go see it, and that's why it was PG-13. That's why it had to be PG-13 because they realized their whole fan base was there, and then went to go see the movie, and that's why it made money. Is this a by the books good horror movie? Not really. Not really. As you mentioned, it broke its own rules for the sake of continuing the story. The kills were, you know what I mean? They were, like they were trying to emulate Child Play in there when Child Play clearly did it better. Yeah, I mean, hell, I mean, but where I think this movie soars is like I said, the person that did M3gan I think was fantastic.
Yes, agreed. 100%.
I have to say, fantastic. No fault to them.
Yep.
No fault to them at all. But that's all I gotta say on that. John?
I don't know if I could say it's trash because that has a lot of baggage. But what I will say is I didn't like the movie. I didn't think it was trash, but I didn't think it was good either, if that makes sense. I feel like the film was just a cheap budget movie that happened to take off because of the dance, because of social media. I think that I would probably have, and I'm being honest here because this stuff
be honest.
affects too. If the movie wasn't as hyped as it was, I probably would have enjoyed it that much more because I wouldn't be also judging it based on the hype, right? So judging it based on the hype is also a thing too, because if there wasn't any hype, when you judge it, when you're watching it, that's not in your ear the whole time. So, you know, I think that my opinion of it is influenced by the hype because when I then saw the movie, I was like, how the fuck did this get hyped? And it caused me to not like it more. But if that hype didn't exist and this was just like a sleeper that someone was like, hey, I saw this on Netflix, I think you would really like it. And I watched it, like, you know what? It was okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think for somebody like me, the hype negatively impacted my feeling of the film. Whereas if there was not any hype, I might have not been as adamant about my negative feeling toward the film. Hopefully that was long-winded. Hope that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I think people need to stop overhyping horror movies on
I agree.
TikTok because I think that's what hurt it. Like I said, the reason why I watched Skinamarink was like everybody saying this movie, I haven't slept because I saw this movie. Now Sarah and I, here's the type of people we became, and I'm sure this is you. Like there'll be people that watch horror movies like, like yeah, I mean, but we watch it like we're watching golf.
We're so
it's just like we're like.
That's a great kill.
I'm doing the Dumbledore clap from the first movie. like oh, we decapitated with a machete. Yeah, but that's why I feel like it was let that because we had that high taste. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, everybody. You guys loaded up the comment section in the best possible way. Let me go down the list right now and talk about all you amazing commenters. I'm talking about Nigel, I'm talking about Tom, I'm talking about Michael, Pete from the Funny Stop. Hey, I'll be at the Funny Stop in Cuyahoga Falls, May 12th and 13th. But
quit whoring yourself.
Hey, he did it for me. I didn't have to do it. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I want to thank my wife for jumping in on today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank Vance, the producer, who produces the goods. Check it on out. I want to give a shout out to our friend Jordan from Rookie Mage Game. He's got a new game coming out. Yeah, that's it. We're rocking the koozie. Mine's right over there. He's got a new game coming out called Nuns with Nunchucks. Make sure you check that out. Check out John's interview that he did with him on the Rookie Mage Game page. So you go over there and check that out. Great interview. Mine will be premiering this upcoming Tuesday, so stick around. But be sure to stop by the Grown Ups Table next Wednesday, 7:00. We're gonna be live everywhere at this time, live across the board. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, I'm Jesse.
I'm John.
And you have been sitting at the Grown Ups Table. Thank you. Have an awesome night.